have a guest in studio, so I'm trying to make this show a little bit more professional today. Joining me in studio, he's the coach of UNCW men's soccer, Coach Aidan Heaney. Aidan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me here, Andy.
Always great to have you in studio. Always great to talk to you. We rarely get you in studio, so to get you in the building, it's nice. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, because for you guys, you know, like the main season, the recorded season, I guess, is in the fall, but the springtime's busy for the men's soccer team.
It is, yeah. I mean, actually, we get to do a lot more, believe it or not. Feel like we do a lot more coaching because the schedule's set up where in the fall, you know, we're playing games, recovering, playing games, and there's not a lot of there's as much time on the field as we'd like. So springtime, I feel like we can get out there and actually really get to the root of things and be a little bit more creative and a little bit more effective with how we work.
Now, how does that, when you're bringing in freshmen, can some of those guys come in for early enrollment, or is it kind of weird that the fall season would be like when they're first getting into school and those are the games, and then you're doing your coaching, as you say, after you've already had a full season of playing the games with those guys?
It's a great question. You know, unlike basketball where they come in the fall and they get to train for 6-8 weeks, maybe even longer actually before their first game, we have 2 weeks. So if our guys come in the summer, we're not actually allowed, we're not permitted to work with these guys. So it's difficult because you got to hit the ground running and hope that kids can take things on board pretty quickly and get off to a good start.
Do you find that there's a bit of that learning curve with the freshmen when they're coming in, and now hey, you're playing D1 soccer? This is where the big boys play. Like it has to be just a completely different animal for these guys, especially as you said, you only get 2 weeks of practice before you're jumping into this.
It's a big ask. You got guys coming in who are maybe just finished the high school senior year at 18 years of age, and they're coming in having to compete against 23, 24-year-old men. Yeah. And then also trying to play a different way. We're going to ask a lot more of them than maybe what they were asked of their team. So it's a big curve, and we obviously want to try and get that process sped up as far as understanding.
In high school baseball, I think of it this way, like a lot of times your best athletes, they play shortstop. And then, when they get to, if they're playing at the collegiate level, they're going to move to a different position because not everybody can be the shortstop there. Do you have guys where maybe in high school they were all playing, up front, they're all playing, and now you're moving them back to the midfield or do different things? Or guys in soccer, is it not really that case? And a guy's a midfielder in high school, he's going to be a midfielder in college?
No, it can be. You can, other than the goalkeeping position, I mean, sure. You could find, a good soccer player is a good soccer player. In our situation at this level, you have to recruit for the positions that you need and hope that, not hope, but, the plan is for them to come in and compete for those spots. But, someone maybe a central midfielder for their club, and all of a sudden, we're playing him at right back. Yeah. Because we think he's more effective there after, having him in and evaluating him and seeing it on a daily basis. So it can change positionally, but for the most part, you're kind of trying to fill your squad with players that are going to fill in the roles that you're looking for. And
they know that going into it. I would assume that, like, hey, look, we want you to be playing here. So it's not they get in and it's like, actually, you kind of stink here. We're going to move you at a different spot.
Yeah, you're a great striker, but, we really didn't think you're going to be a good striker here. So, we're very open up front. We tell them what the plan's going to be, but ultimately the happiest player is the one who's playing and the one who's able to help the team, and so if they fit in another spot, they're usually happy, and so as long as they're a team player and they buy into what helping the team win, that's the key.
Coach, we were talking a little bit off the air. The spring season for you guys, you get a couple different matches to play different teams, exhibition style stuff, and this is Saturday is the last exhibition match of the season. You guys take on Liberty, and it's always a game that's special to you and special to the program. It's Harry's game.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of the culmination of our spring season, but as we've talked about in the past, Randy, it's something I think it's our 10th, 11th year. Harry just turned 12, my son. But the impetus behind this, it wasn't about we want to do something, a game for my son. It was more like, hey, it's Harry's game. We call it that, but really the game is for all the kids who are not typical kids like Harry, who has Down syndrome, and we've got a lot of kids in our community who have different ailments and different challenges, and so we're really trying to put a spotlight on that and trying to get the community involved, and families and kids to kind of be more accepting and just be more comfortable an understanding of what maybe these children are going through.
And again, I think, obviously at your level, you're a coach, Division I soccer. These are, scholarship athletes, student athletes playing at the next level. All that stuff, they're high level when they were in high school. They're high level athletes now. But sports, especially for kids, is different. It's just it's a way to learn so many different life skills and a way to be just a part of a group and a part of a team. And it's important that every kid gets to do that, whether or not they have whatever ailments they're dealing with.
100%. You look at, we've been doing some clinics on the weekends for the last 3 weekends for kids in our community who have special needs and challenges, and they come out, they have a passion to play and be active and,
right.
and like any typical child. So why can't we provide that for them? And then also the benefits for our guys. I don't know how many of our players have actually worked with kids who have these types of challenges, and so now they're interacting and rubbing shoulders, and really the joy that the sports bring for kids, and our players get a thrill and the love, they feel the love and enjoy being in and around people like Harry.
And I think a thing that's important too with this kind of stuff is, sometimes when you look at it from a distance, you hear about kids with special needs and you think of them differently. But in reality, they're kids. Yeah. And I think when you get to meet them and you interact with kids, then you're like, oh, they're just kids like every other kid I know. They're just maybe have something else they're dealing with in their life.
Exactly. They may be dealing with something. They maybe need help in certain situations. But I think that's the thing. Take the stigma away, and let's try and treat these kids as they are any typical child, and that's what we want as parents, and that's what I think the kids do ultimately deep down. So let's try and help that process, and if we do that, certainly the world's going to be a better place.
Absolutely. Coach, you mentioned the clinics you've been doing on the weekends and such. Before Harry's game on Saturday, you guys have a clinic for kids as well.
We do. The kickoff is 6 o'clock, but 4 o'clock we're going to have a free clinic for special needs kids and typical kids. Again, mixing it together and being around it, and they've been really well received. We'll have our UNCW players, we'll have the Liberty players. We'll mix those guys in, so they'll be helping coach and give some tips to some of the kids, and the Hammerheads, the local soccer association, the Wilmington Hammerheads, they've been very graceful to help out with this as well. So we have some of their coaches, and so it's really kind of combined effort, and we just want the kids to come on out, have a great time, and then stay and watch the game afterwards, and we'll have some fun things. We'll have some inflatables, we'll have some free food for the kids, and some face painting, and
awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great night.
Here in Southeast North Carolina, it feels like this is a really big area for soccer. Whether it's talking about your team, when you look at Coach Neal, when you look at the New Hanover High School boys went on a run. The Ashley girls team is ranked number 1 in the state. You mentioned the Hammerheads. There's a lot of high-level soccer being played out here at all levels.
At all levels. I mean, you've got obviously you got Pisa, you got Wilmington United, the Y. I mean, there's so many kids playing. It's really a great thing. It's not everywhere is like this, and I put a lot of that down to the pro team that we had. Obviously, with the Wilmington Hammerheads when they were here, that was well received, it was well supported, and I think there's a hunger and there's a passion for the sport in the city, and it's we're beneficiaries of that, and we, as a group, want to show and provide a product in the field as well that's exciting and people want to come and watch and enjoy. So that's our plan and philosophy as well.
Coach, we were talking a little bit off the air as well. With the pandemic a few years, 4 years ago now, time flies, but that kind of moved everything. People had years of eligibility, and you mentioned you guys had the largest senior class maybe you've ever had, and now an influx of those young players that are going to be moving in. It's a bit of a transition for you guys.
Yeah, there's two things, Randy, with it. I mean, you had to deal with the players getting an extra year of eligibility, which I think was the right thing.
Yeah.
But then you've had to manage that. So we had more players stay on our team that went to grad school because they had the extra year. But obviously that puts everything back and puts you out of balance when it comes to your recruiting classes. So a lot of kids were coming out of high school, there were no spots because kids were staying and playing an extra year. fast forward, and the transfer portals obviously contributed to this as well. There's a lot of kids who are now transferring and able to go on the transfer portal more easily than they ever were. So there's that competition side. So it's a tough market for kids who are young and graduating from high school and trying to find where they best fit in.
You know, we hear about that a lot with like college football and college basketball, but how do you see that transfer portal and the way that the rules have changed on that? How much has that affected you? Is it just a little bit of a tweak, or are you guys noticing a lot of changes as well when it comes to you got to work the portal and recruit guys to stay on your team and potentially come in from other schools?
Thankfully, we haven't had too many kids transfer out, but I get it. I think the idea behind it was right. I mean, giving kids, if they felt like they need to move on or they could go and explore another opportunity, totally get that, 100%. I think you've got to be careful, though. I think there's sometimes that maybe, and again, I'm not talking about my program per se, but with other programs, is, sometimes, a bump in the road or having to fight for something or be challenged and, and sticking at it and having resilience. Be careful that we don't lose that in our kids because they can say, I'm not playing enough time here, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, that might be the same case wherever you're at. So you just got to, I think we've got to make sure the message is right and to stay on task and stick with it and exhaust it and do everything you possibly can to be a success at the university you went to, because you chose there obviously for a good reason. So I think we've got to make sure that message is clear.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the life lessons that sports teaches. It's that sometimes things don't always go your way, and it's how you react to that adversity. Do you leave or do you try to stick it out? And maybe for some people in some situations it maybe is better to go somewhere else. But a lot of times it's, hey, you got to stick it out. You make a commitment and you want to see it through.
Yeah, but and again, each case is case by case.
Sure.
I mean, there may be some kids who may want to leave, and it is just a better situation to go somewhere else. So it works both ways. I get it, but it just makes it. A lot of kids went on the transfer portal, and there's a lot of kids who don't have homes because there aren't that many opportunities, and they felt like, well, I'll just go somewhere else, and didn't end up landing where they wanted to go or where they thought they might end up.
Coach Aidan Heaney from UNCW Men's Soccer. Harry's game is this Saturday. You guys take on Liberty. When you do this game, do you talk to the other team ahead of time and kind of let them know that, hey, this is a special event for us, we're going to be doing this, and how receptive do you find those other teams?
I would tell you, all the coaches we've had some, ACC schools down here.
Yeah.
We've had some friends. I mean, most of these guys are the Division I coaching circuit. It's not that big. It's 206 schools or 208 schools. So, we know each other. I've known each other for a lot of years. But when you reach out these guys, they're all in. And it's an easy ask. I do tell them about that. We talked this morning. Kelly Finley, the head coach of Liberty, and we spoke this morning about what's going to happen on Saturday, the plan with the clinic, what his kids' expectations he can expect for his kids. But when it comes to the game, we're going to compete. I mean,
Sure.
Those guys they play to win, and they train all year to play games to win. So you'll see two teams giving their all on 100% to try and be successful on Saturday. But while the clinic's going on, we're rubbing shoulders and we're friends.
Yeah, until the whistle blows and
it's just friendly competition.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you feeling about what you've seen from your team this spring?
Yeah, I like the progress we've been making. I think, like I said, the fact that we're able to spend time and coach and really kind of get some philosophies over and some principles over to the group. I think that's been the goal, is to get better each game, and we feel like we've done that, and we're doing that. So we want to continue on. We played Belmont Abbey last weekend and had a good 4-0 victory there, and we'd like to see that process continue on Saturday when we play Liberty.
Coach, I got to ask you, the U.S. Cup, the MLS is kind of pulling some of their teams out, and now they're playing like their reserve squads in there. What are your thoughts on? Because to me, it feels like, I'll be honest, I didn't know a ton about it. I was reading some articles recently, and like in England, you have the FA Cup where every club's playing in this, and there's a chance for smaller teams to go on runs and do some little special things. They're not going to win it, but you get a Cinderella story like March Madness. What are your thoughts on the fact that maybe some of those Cinderella teams aren't going to get a chance to play the major clubs in the MLS.
I thought it was a really short-sighted decision. Yeah. I don't understand the rationale behind it. It's not like they're playing in the Champions League, like, at Manchester City, and they've got a game every 3 days. This is something that the players would want to play. And if you ask any player in Major League Soccer, hey, do you not want to play in the Open Cup? They would say, no, I want to play in the Open Cup. It is the equivalent of the FA Cup, and it's the oldest running soccer competition in the US. So it was a really strange decision, and I think it does take away some luster from the event and the competition. So, I don't think I'm not a fan. I think that the play should put in. If you got the first team and you want to play reserves, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's up to you. I mean, maybe you have a catalogue of games coming up and you need to manage your group. Right. That's fine, but don't say, well, we're just not playing the first team, we're going to put the reserves in. It diminishes it.
And again, like, we don't have as much history as Europe does and South America. So for us to have the only thing we really have any tradition in that's been around for over 100 years to be like our top league to go, it's not that, it kind of stinks.
They tried to do that in England, actually. I want to say it was back in around 2000, and the outcry, I think it was Manchester United, was saying, well, they were playing in the World Club Championship,
sure,
and there was a conflict. And they said, no, I think we're just not going to play this year. And everyone was like, no, you're playing. So they weren't allowed.
Harry's game this Saturday over there at UNCW. Again, the game itself is at 6, but the activities start well before that.
Yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
We're going to have a great day. The weather's meant to be fantastic. Listen, if you want to bring your kids out on a lovely Saturday evening, have some fun, watch some good soccer.
You can say football.
I almost said it, didn't I?
You did. I saw you.
I've been here 30-something years, and sometimes I have to catch myself. But it's going to be a lot of fun for kids and families. So there's going to be concessions out there as well. I think it's a good family evening out. It's $6 for adults, and kids are free.
UNCWsports.com. Get your tickets there, Coach.
Yeah, Ryan, just want to say, all the proceeds, we're going to have a jersey auction. We'll auction all the players' jerseys off. All the ticketing, all the funds, all the proceeds are going to go to New Hanover Special Olympics and Coastal Bud. So all the money goes to charity.
That's great. Thank you for everything you do with this. And, you're one, I'm sure you're not going to give yourself credit, but you've been here a while. You're helping keep the soccer momentum going here in town, with all the stuff you're doing with your camps and, the clinics and stuff. It means a lot.
I just love this game, and Wilmington's been very kind to my wife and my family and I, so we love it here, and we're very grateful for all the people in this community and friends that we have here, so we'll keep working hard.
Harry's game this weekend. Coach Aidan Heaney in studio with us. Coach, thanks for your time. I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure. Thanks, Ryan, for coming.
When we come back, the Teal Tuesday will continue in a little bit. Mike Ficcaro's got a follow-up, Coach, here where we'll talk about all this stuff that with the soccer team and all the other things going on campus. Slag on Sports, ESPN Women Campus. Slag on Sports, ESPN Women Campus. Slag on Sports.